Welcome, everybody, to the Stone Down Sports Podcast. My name is Matt. Really happy to be here with you on this Tuesday evening, going over the week it was in Week 10 of the NFL, recapping some good fantasy information. We've got waiver wires for you on tap, the whole 9 yards. Before we get into that, I want to say a big thank you to everybody that checks out what we put out there and hops into the chat with us. We really enjoy hanging out here with you guys 3 times a week, every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 o'clock. And we're around on Sunday mornings at 11:30 to help out with those last minute lineup decisions. For those of you that can't catch us live, don't despair. We're still here to help you out. Just drop your question there in the comments and we'll get back to you. Or you can always get a hold of us on social media. As always, I'm joined by the acolytes, Kyle and Ramey. Ramey, it was quite an interesting game Sunday morning there in Germany. And what I find even more interesting is you watched that and said, you know what? I'll take some more of that. And you're going to go to the Iowa-Illinois game this Saturday.
Yeah. Like you said on Sunday, I can't get enough Big Ten football. And that's exactly what we had over in Germany on Sunday. 10-6 Colts. Jonathan Taylor had a rushing touchdown that turned out to be the game-winning touchdown in the first half. Both offenses struggled to generate any kind of points. We talked last week. We knew it was going to be a low-scoring game because of the travel and the time zone differences, but I don't think any of us thought it was going to be a 10-6 type of game. The Patriots offense looks entirely lost. I thought that Bill O'Brien was going to punch Mac Jones on the sideline there for a few minutes. He was really screaming at Mac Jones for a while there, and I mean, understandably so. He had a couple of head-scratching turnovers, and only to bring in Bailey Zappi for the final drive, pull out a fake spike and throw a final pick to seal the game to the Colts. So it wasn't a really fun game to watch. Might have set football back a few years, but my team came out on top, and they are 500 heading into the bye week. So I think if the three of us would have sat down before the season and said at week 10 the Colts would be 5-5, I don't think any of us would have taken that.
No, as a matter of fact, we did sit down before the season and talk about how the Colts would do in our AFC South Division preview. You can find that there on YouTube as well. Kyle, how the hell are you? You've still got about 90 seconds before you can cuss, but see if you can give us, a minute of good, clean content.
I'm good. Exciting week. What a week for place kickers, right? What was there? 6 games were determined by game-winning field goals with no time remaining in Week 10. There was 5 on one day on Sunday, which was a record, but 6 is the record for a full week. Just crazy. And our Lions were in on one of those, but I thought we were already jumping into Colts Patriots. That's why I put the banner up.
I kind of did.
Because I was like, oh, we're going out. Matt went out of order. All right. No big deal. Now let's put the banner up. But yeah, that was a boring game. I have to admit I didn't watch much in Germany there. It was no bueno.
15 seconds.
Did I say something? I forgot.
No, I'm just saying there's 15 seconds left.
Oh, yeah.
Before you can just cut loose and show us the real Kyle.
Yeah.
This was the first time the Colts scored under 20 points. Why'd you take the banner away? We're talking about the Colts.
Oh, I thought we were still kind of introing or whatever.
Nah,
put it back up.
We're just rolling into it. Lowest scoring game of the season this year in all games played, that 10-6. Yeah, it was ugly to watch. I don't have much notes on it, Matt. Mac Jones sucked. He's leading the league now in interception with 10.
League leader, baby.
Yeah, league leader. Ramondre had 20 carries. There's some volume. Turned it into 88 yards. Zeke was 13 for 54. But it was just ugly. Pittman had 12 targets. Everybody else on the team on the Colts had 1, 3, something like that. It was sick. He had everything.
Yeah, Downs had 3, and I think it was just a product of the lack of talent on both with Minshew and then the Josh Downs being hurt, but the rest of the receiving core outside of Pittman just really doesn't have much to offer. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Kyle. Pittman had 12 targets and nobody else had more than 4. Isaiah McKenzie had 4.
Yeah, he's got 8 targets in 4 of his last 5. He's been an unexpected bright spot this year. I didn't really think a whole hell of a lot of them coming into the season, just given, we were expecting Anthony Richardson to potentially start the whole year. Unfortunately, he's out, and we've kind of gone over that. Back on the Patriots side, Demario Douglas did have 6 for 84. He had 9 targets. He's got a 23% target share there the past 3 weeks. So, he is getting quite a few looks, but it's a low volume passing attack. He's nothing more than a wide receiver 3 flex play. JT's taken over that backfield, though.
Yeah.
82% of snaps the last 2 weeks, 75% of the rushing attempts. I think Moss only had 1 or 2 this week. He's got a firm grip on that backfield, and I don't think Moss is startable anymore, not even as a flex, maybe a desperation flex, but the trend, at least over the past couple of weeks, is it's JT or nothing in that backfield.
Yeah, and we kind of knew it was going to go that route as he got more comfortable and got kind of up to speed with the new offense and into game shape after the 4-game pup list / holdout. We knew it would take a few games, but you're absolutely right. Taylor had 23 carries for 69 yards, so only a 3-yard average, but he did have that touchdown to kind of supplement things for you fantasy owners, which is always a good thing. So not a lot of scoring in this game. Even as a Colts fan, it was a little hard to watch. You think about the days of Peyton and Brady back in the early to mid 2000s. This is far from it, and I think the Colts are on the right path, but I don't know what the Patriots are going to do other than hope to continue to lose this year and get a top 5 pick so that they can draft a quarterback and then try to figure out what they're going to do with their front office and coaching staff, which is weird to say when Bill Belichick is your GM and head coach. But everyone and their mom on TV thinks that he's out after this year. We talked about it on Sunday. It's one really bad year after 25 years of success. So do you give him a little slack? The other side of that being he's 72 years old, and the trend over the last 4 or 5 years has not been in the right direction. So I'll leave that to you Patriots fans to talk about.
Well, I don't think it's going to take a whole hell of a lot of hope for them to continue losing. I think they're going to be able to pull that off splendidly. They'll be drafting top 5 next year, and I got to imagine they're going to take a quarterback. Mac Jones, at this point, needs a change of scenery. Go somewhere else, be a backup for a year, and see if you can reboot your career.
For sure.
Do we really feel the need to continue talking about these 2 teams?
No.
Absolutely not. Oh, wrong one. See, this is why we go in order. Lions 7-2 went to La La Land against the Chargers. They pulled it off, 41-38, game-winning field goal, one of those 6 by Riley Patterson there to win 41-38. Goff played well on the road, which is usually something he doesn't tend to do. I think that's his second pretty good road game this year, the other one being Tampa Bay. The big story was kind of like Monty started the game. He looked good. Obviously, had a 75-yard touchdown run. I think he finished RB4 in half PPR this week. But Gibbs ended up with more carries, more targets. Pretty much was involved in anything except for short yardage. And you saw him on the goal line work. He got those 2 rushing touchdowns. So you Gibbs owners, myself included, you were feeling it at the beginning of the season when he wasn't being used much, and now he is, and you're loving it, and so am I. What's up, man?
What's up,
Sway's
Buff?
in the house. Thanks for joining us tonight, man.
Yeah,
always glad to have you around. But yeah, Gibbs ended up RB2 on the week, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra had another game of 156, over 100 yards, I should say. Career high 156 yards. He finished as wide receiver 3. First Detroit receiver to have 600-yard games in a 7-game span since Megatron 2012. So
Nice.
Randy is in the house. How you doing? Good evening, Randy. Trade Brees, Waddle, Noah Brown for Tyreek and Sam Howell. Lineup would be Lamar, Gibbs, Jerome Ford, Amon-Ra, Tyreek, Devonta. Trade Brees, Waddle,
I guess I don't understand. If you're going to be starting Lamar, why are you trading for Howell? Because he's a QB1. So unless this is a super flex or a 2 QB league, I don't see how adding Sam Howell elevates your team in any way. I am a fan of getting Tyreek, and maybe you can swap out Howell for another piece, but as it stands right now, Lamar, someone to fill in. That's a steep price to pay for 1 week of production. But I also don't know what your waiver wire looks like.
This is true. Yeah, if Dobbs is out there, I'd pick him up and do that instead of Sam Howell. Just, I mean, maybe not a normal week, not because of this trade, because Sam Howell does throw a lot, but Jesus. No, I wouldn't do that just for that. Like Matt said, I like the Tyreek, and then you're flip-flopping one Miami receiver for the better Miami receiver. Yeah, I don't really love it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's something decent on waivers, you can pick up, not acquire Howell, and just do 2 of those players for Tyreek. I'm good with that. Noah Brown, I don't think is going to have a whole lot of value as the season goes on and Nico gets healthy. At best, he's going to be the 4th option in that offense behind Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Dalton Schultz. And I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of meat left on the bone for him. I think just given the offense that they run there in Houston as well, I think they're going to be inclined to run Robert Woods out there a lot more just because he is a hell of a blocker for that running game. I get the logic in wanting to do it. Yeah, let's see here. Randy says, so basically it's Tyreek for Waddle and Brees. How do you feel about that? It's a steep price to pay, I think, but you're getting the wide receiver 1 on the season who's well on his way to a 2,000-yard season, and he's scoring touchdowns. You're upgrading over Jalen Waddle, who's just not really looked himself this year. He's looked okay, but not great. And part of that just may be some lingering after effects due to his injury. The Jets offense, I'm not huge in investing in just because Zach Wilson is so damn bad. They should be scoring more than 12 points against the Raiders. So I don't get what the hell they're doing there. He's a high floor guy. I get it, but I'm cool with Gibbs and Jerome Ford, given the elite receiver lineup you got there, pairing up Tyreek with Sun God.
Yeah. I don't know what your record is, Randy, if you're looking playoff bound or not. Keep in mind the Dolphins schedule, weeks 15, 16, and 17 is Jets, Cowboys, Ravens. Does that change your mind at all? Toughie.
He's
6-4.
Yeah, and he's got a quick follow-up, and then we'll move on to Josh there. We see you, buddy. Do the Jets dropping Michael Carter impact Brees's value? Not really. Michael Carter wasn't really getting a whole lot of run anyway, and he was primarily used as a pass catcher. Dalvin Cook has looked like ass, but he's going to be in line for carries before Michael Carter will.
For sure. Josh, would you make any changes to this roster? A 20-team PPR?
Holy
Lamar,
smokes.
JT, Aaron Jones, Tyreek, DJ Moore, Kelsey, and Christian Kirk. I'm 5-5 in 5th place in my division. Top 4 make playoffs. Everyone ahead of me is 6-4. Man, looking at that team, that's not horrible.
Yeah.
Lamar hasn't been finishing very high in rankings each week. Like, I don't think he's finished QB 15 or higher in the last 3 weeks.
But in a 20-team league, who in the hell are you going to get that's better?
Exactly.
That has that week-to-week upside too.
Exactly. That's a That's a pretty good team. God damn. I mean, sure, Aaron Jones hasn't really done much. He's had one good game.
Yeah, but
Ooh.
we were just saying earlier though, JT has taken over that backfield. He's got Tyreek, DJ Moore. I think once Justin Fields gets back, will cease to look like ass every week. You've got the best tight end in the business, and with the news of Zay Jones's pending legal troubles down in Florida, I like Christian Kirk. I think he has, he's a high-end wide receiver too. The rest of the way, DJ Moore and Tyreek are high-end wide receiver ones. And when you have a team or a league that big, you're looking for the elite talent that helps separate you.
That's crazy. In a 20-team league, you got Tyreek and Kelsey.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be an auction though. We don't know.
I guess that's true. Still, I think it's a pretty good lineup. I mean, Aaron Jones has been disappointing. So I don't know if you could look for an upgrade there, but without giving something of value away, I don't know how you're going to upgrade much more than over Aaron Jones without having to give away, JT or Kelsey or somebody like that. Traded for all but JT. Nice.
Okay. That's
very nice. Wheeling and dealing. I like it.
I mean, that team looks good. I mean, I can't imagine it looked better than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, great job on improving your team. You mentioned you have the most points in your division, but have gotten super unlucky and more or less missed playoffs. I think eventually, you're going to get some wins here. Some of them, other people aren't going to, your opponents won't score. God, that sounds stupid, Kyle. I lost my train of thought. So just, somebody take it.
I think what Kyle was very eloquently trying to say is that over the course of the season, typically the teams that score the most points find the most success, and that variance of luck tends to even out. Appreciate you guys stopping by, both you and Randy. If you haven't yet, please give us a like and subscribe. We are here every Tuesday and Thursday evening at 7, and we're also live Sunday mornings at 11:30 a.m. Eastern for Tinker Time to help out with those last-minute lineup decisions as we head into the stretch run here. Appreciate you both.
Heck yeah. Man, Herbert had a big game. He was QB2 on the week, I believe. And Keenan Allen was wide receiver 1 on the week. And these are all half PPR. I always use the podcast settings or whatever for this. So just because we have the podcast league on here. So half PPR.
Look at that logic.
Yeah.
Chargers doing Charger things again. It doesn't seem to fail. Whoever the quarterback is, whoever the coach is, whoever's on the team, they always seem to fall just short in those high-profile games. I mean, good for you guys having the Lions win, but that was a shootout. It was a really entertaining game. Both teams just kept going for it on 4th down and getting it on 4th down. And I think Dan Campbell, they were talking about how big his balls are by continuing to go for it on 4th when they were in field goal range towards the end of the game. I don't know if it was that or just knowing that if he gave the Chargers too much time, they were going to come down and score and win the game, because they had 3 possessions in the second half, and it was touchdown, 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 all 3 to tie the game. So they were staying right with the Lions. It wasn't a game for defense. It was a really fun game to watch, and I think that just ultimately the Lions were a little bit better.
Okay. Well, I'll talk because Matt's gone. I think, did you mention they scored 5 touchdowns in a row, 5 drives in a row, the Chargers?
I know I talked about second half, just the 3 touchdowns in the second half. They only had 3 possessions in the second half.
Right. Yep. But it was a fun game to watch. I was worried. Motor City Dan Campbell, dude, just walking around carrying his balls everywhere. That man does not have to buy a drink or a coffee or anything in the streets of Detroit because everybody loves him. He told the team, for the game, they were going to be more aggressive than normal, and he really showed it coaching on the sidelines. That 4-2, that when it was 4-2 in the fourth quarter, that touchdown to Brock Wright was just all balls. And the credit the players, they executed. Everybody did what they were supposed to. It's awesome.
Yeah.
That was Brock wrong. That shit should have went to Laporta. Regardless, I think back to earlier this season and even in the offseason when Detroit traded away DeAndre Swift and they took Gibbs with some draft day dealing and everyone was all up in arms. You let Jamal Williams leave. And I get from the standpoint of the leadership that he brought the team, not wanting to let that go. But at the end of the day, it's a business and you want to see on-field performance. Ain't no way in hell Jamal Williams was taking that ball 75 yards to the house the way Monty did. He wouldn't have got there. And it was great to see J-Mo downfield blocking. That was a key block that really helped him get around the corner and head towards the end zone. And his plays like that'll keep you on the field.
Watching the all 22 of that specific play this week was awesome. I kept reversing and fast forwarding and watching it again and in slow-mo. And the way that Jamo ran like a gazelle there. He made up 5 yards, I thought, in just a half a second, and he was there blocking. And I'm very proud of him for doing something like that, other than dropping balls.
He appreciates you for your pride.
Yeah, good. I'm sure he does.
Yeah,
we'll have him on here. We'll have him on here soon.
Yeah,
there we go. We could just do like Ricky from Trailer Park Boys and just say, oh, yeah, we're going to have like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning on here. And they might show up. I don't know. I extended the invitation.
Yeah.
That's definitely what we'll do. We good with Lions charges?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. So, Falcons Cardinals. Ugh. Falcons lost another close one. Falcons lost another close one. They've lost the past 3 games by a combined 10 points.
Yeah, but they finally used Bijan
22 times, I saw.
Yeah.
I think he might have had a catch too, but he carried 22 times for 95 yards. They finally did, and still didn't work. Let's see. Arthur Smith says, we're frustrated. Anybody would be when you come up short. We have to fix what's been our issues and find a way to get back in the win column. And, of course, our issues are use your playmakers intelligently, not as decoys.
Everyone on that offense is a decoy for benefit of Cordero Patterson.
Right.
3 rushing attempts this week. Look, as a team, they ran the ball 41 times. And I think that's what a lot of us expected coming into the season. I know there was quite a few people that were high on Tyler Algier as a possible sleeper because we thought they'd run the ball 450, 500 times this year. Mm-hmm. It's not really happened. The pass game was non-existent. They had 70 yards. Heineke hurt his hammy. He's out for who knows how long. Arthur Smith isn't committing to a starter. They do have the bye week this week. And I just saw it was either yesterday or today where ownership come out and said, Arthur Smith has our confidence. He's the right person to lead this team. And I just, the question is like, what have you seen that makes you think that?
Yeah.
I don't get it. On the Arizona side, Kyler Murray was back and he was out there running around just like his old self. 19 of 32, 241 yards. He threw a pick, chipped in 33 yards and had a rushing touchdown. And he had a couple runs called back due to holding as well. He really looked Trey McBride's way early and often. 9 targets, 8 for, what was that, 121, 131? He was
131.
Yeah, he's a tight end 5 the past 3 weeks. He was somebody that, we let all you guys know to look for on the waiver wire once Zach Ertz went down. Connor come back. He looked decent.
Yeah.
Hollywood Brown was more Bollywood Brown. He just went 1 for 28 on 4 targets.
Yeah, I expected a lot more out of that because they had great chemistry last year. He had 80 targets, over 50 receptions, 500 yards, 3 touchdowns in 8 games before Kyler got hurt. I was shocked to see that. Rondale Moore had 8 targets.
Yeah.
I was so I was kind of shocked to see that, but give it some time. They'll reconnect, I'm sure.
Michael Wilson, Rondale Moore, and Trey McBride were the only players with 5 or more targets this week.
Yeah.
Michael Wilson damn near had a touchdown too. They called it a touchdown on the field, and then they said no, he was down at like the half-yard line, 1 yard line. And then Clayton Tune come in and went all Taysom Hill and rushed in.
Yep. Yeah, it was an interesting game to watch. Kyler comes back and he looks decent. So if he continues to play this well, I'm sure the question's going to be, what do you do? Do you stick with the devil that you know, or do you go for the devil that you don't by drafting a quarterback and kind of restarting things? They do have some weapons. They've got a good running back. The game plan really did seem to focus on Kyler getting some short passes, with Trey McBride being a big focus. Running the ball, they ran the ball 26 times. They only threw it for I guess they threw it 32 times, but it was pretty balanced. And I honestly was surprised how good Kyler looked coming out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean I kind of thought he would look good because it's almost been a year since he tore his ACL. That's plenty of time for him to recover, and I highly doubt they would have brought him back if he wasn't ready. I can't really see them moving on from him just because of the salary cap implications. But that doesn't mean that they, can't go get him a Marvin Harrison, the second or third or whatever the hell he is over at that dickhead school in that dickhead state next door. I was watching the condensed replay of this game, and just in the first half, it just seemed like neither team could really get into a flow, and damn, there were so many penalties. There were 8 total offensive holding penalties called in this game.
Jeez.
Wow.
4 on each team that were accepted. It's hard for your offense to get in a flow when it's constant flags.
Constantly 10 yards behind. Yeah, hopefully Atlanta fixes something on their bye week, because you're 3 straight and lost 6 of 8. When they started off well and people were kind of talking them up, but not so much now.
Yeah, James Conner coming back from an injury had 16 carries for 73 yards. So you mentioned that earlier, Matt. He's looked good. So coming down the stretch, their schedule's not great. They have the Texans next week, so they go to Houston to play CJ Stroud and the Texans, but they might get some wins the rest of the season, and then they've got their own pick. They've got the Texans pick, so whether they package those to move up and take somebody, if they kind of fall out of that top 5 range, if they win a few games, or maybe they look to trade one of those picks and kind of prep for the future around Kyler. He's certainly an exciting player. He's got all the physical tools. There's no reason, if he kind of gets the game planning piece right, and maybe that's just getting older and getting a little bit more mature, maybe he becomes more of a student of the game, so to speak, and starts to really show some the ability to kind of dictate the game using his mind more than his feet. So, because with that injury from last year, you got to be cognizant of that, just making sure that you don't re-injure anything down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, just kind of looking at his body language too, it seems like he's made a good connection with the new coaching staff there, and I understand there was I think he had some familiarity with Cliff Kingsbury just through college and even high school recruiting, but I don't know, things just went sideways there, and when they did, it went quickly.
Yeah,
and they aired a lot of bullshit in the media.
Yeah.
Steve Keim out there talking all that shit. He's got more DUIs than playoff wins, so I don't really give a shit what he has to say.
Yeah, so I can't remember if it was on McAfee or another show, but they were talking about Kyler and just how when he went out last year, there was a different coach, there was a different GM, a lot of the team wasn't there, so it's almost like he kind of got traded to his own team.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of a fresh start for him, like you said, where he's coming into a new front office, a new coaching staff. So maybe it's an opportunity for him to he did during not just the post game, but the run up to the game, he genuinely seemed excited about being back and being able to play. So maybe it was just a bad situation around him before they cleaned house, and maybe that'll contribute to some success down the road.
That's it. You got to change of scenery by staying home.
Yep.
That's an interesting thought. I never really thought about that. Traded to his own team, but makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's see. We're on to Baltimore. Browns at Ravens. Cleveland wins this 33-31. Another one of those field goal games. So was the last one for that matter. But mentioned it earlier. Yeah, Lamar Jackson notches third consecutive week as QB 15 or worse. Got some games against some offensive teams coming up the rest of the season. Hopefully that will actually pick up his game as well by having to, try and stay up with these other teams. Obviously, they play the Bengals again. The other thing I was looking at for snap shares was Rashad Bateman outsnapped Odell Beckham. It's pretty much been trending that way since the beginning of the season. Earlier there in the season, they rotated by drive. But now Bateman played 21 of 27 snaps in 2 receiver sets. Odell Beckham only had 4. Based on this usage, these trends, could Bateman actually outperform Beckham over the rest of the season? Can't believe I'm actually answering that question, but
if he gets for him, the key is health. He's got to keep his ass on the field, which he's not shown that he can do. If he does that, he's got all the talent in the world. He was a badass at Minnesota.
Yeah. Baltimore started out hot in this game. They got a defensive touchdown right off the bat. Got up 17-3 in the first quarter. And then things just kind of started falling apart as he got into the second half. Deshaun Watson looked like Deshaun Watson of Houston towards the end of the game. He played really well in the second half. He ended up 20 of 34 for 213 yards, had a TD and a pick. But in that second half, he played really well. And what we thought was going to be a relatively low-scoring game, of course, turned into a shootout at the end, kind of a little bit of a back and forth, ultimately coming down to Cleveland kicking that game-winning field goal. So in Baltimore, big win for Cleveland, who now sits, I guess, a half a game back of the division lead, but right now having the tiebreaker against the Ravens. And Ravens have a short week against going against Cincinnati, who's also coming off a loss. So big game for both of those teams coming up. I think this division is probably going to beat up on itself a little bit, beat up on each other a little bit. We're not going to talk about it too in depth, but the Steelers ended up getting a win. They're 6-3. How the hell are they 6-3? So that division is kind of back to the black and blue division of a few years ago, where it'll be really fun to watch how things go down the stretch as these teams play each other. And do they all continue to win outside the division enough to potentially have 2 or 3 teams that make the playoffs? I think 2 will make the playoffs, maybe even 3.
I think so. One thing that was really puzzling through the game, Keaton Mitchell's usage. He got used and then he didn't. And Harbaugh was asked about it after the game. And he's like, it wasn't intentional. It just kind of happened. I do think, though, going forward, he's taken over that complimentary back role from Justice Hill. He's like a poor man's Achan in a way. They've got they're very similar archetype. Even their size, they're within an inch of each other and 3 pounds. So they're essentially the same dude. Achan is just faster than him. But still, if you're a quarter step slower than Devon Achan, you're still pretty goddamn fast.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, this was Lamar Jackson's second game in a row targeting 9 different receivers. So he's really been spreading the ball around the past couple of weeks. You're not seeing that same rushing upside that you did see in past years. And I imagine that's by design, because you're talking about a guy that missed significant time the past couple of years as well. So keep him healthy. He's playing at a very, very high level. I think the biggest surprise for me coming out of this game was Jerome Ford, 107 yards rushing against that Baltimore defense.
Yeah.
He showed up against them. He showed up against the 49ers defense. He's a damn good back.
Yeah. He's been playing the majority of snaps, both early downs and late downs in the last 2 games. Hunt's been just doing mostly short yardage. I say it's pretty safe to keep Jerome Ford in your starting lineup going forward. There's probably going to be some games where Hunt falls in the end zone and Jerome Ford does.
Oh, like the game on Sunday where Hunt had the touchdown and Jerome Ford didn't. Hunt had 10 carries for 32 yards. So he only had a 3.2 average, but he did have that one touchdown. So Kyle is back.
Oh, yeah. I disappeared. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Just
did any of that stuff come through, or did it all just totally garbled? No. Awesome. Yeah. Fuck it. It's not important. One thing I did see about Deshaun Watson, every pass he threw over halftime, he completed. He did look damn good. I hope it continues. The player, he was electrifying there in Houston a couple seasons ago, and I'd like to see that again. I don't like the man too much, but I'd still like to support the player.
Yeah.
$36 Amari Cooper showed up for you. 6 for 98 on 9 targets. The Browns were incredibly balanced in this game. 35 passes, 36 runs. And I think that's the ratio that they want to live in. Utilize their offensive line, play damn good defense. Deshaun Watson, in the full games that he's played, is averaging 14.9 points per game. It's a little bit better than Matthew Stafford and a little bit below Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. Oh bueno. It's not that good. But you're going to start him. My brother has him, and he's going to have to start him. There ain't nobody else better out there, Terry.
No, there sure ain't. Zay Flowers was decent, 5 for 73. Yeah. He got a little cold there for a few weeks, and it looks like he's starting to pick back up. I know Odell Beckham come out and had a couple comments about him today that, he's really looking for that 150-yard, 2-touchdown game out of him because that's the kind of talent he has. He's done really, really well in that offense, especially given that he's a rookie and there were a lot of question marks around Lamar Jackson this season and just how well he would perform in a more pass-heavy offense that isn't, an inside-out read.
For sure. I know we don't talk about defense on here too much, but Myles Garrett got his 11th sack. And
he's a monster.
He's tied with the Neil Hunter. What is it? He joined Reggie White, John Randall, DeMarcus Ware, Jared Allen, Bruce Smith, and LT is the only players to have 6 consecutive seasons with 10 or more sacks. That's the
pretty
cream
good
of the crop there. Sack land. Jesus. Ugh. All them guys were great. I grew up watching Reggie Wright and John Randall and Bruce Smith.
Who's Reggie Wright?
Reggie. I fuck off. You know I have a problem saying pass rush win rate. And big time throw weight. All right.
Reggie Wright and John Landell.
Yeah, John Landell. Let's see. Commanders at the Seahawks. Another field goal winning game.
Yeah.
The game. I wonder how that game would have played out had the Commanders kicker not missed that PAT that would have put them up 10-0 there in the beginning of the game.
Yeah. Don't know. Geno looked like last year, Geno, I guess. 31 of 47, career high, 369 yards. Yeah, when you asked Geno Smith to throw 47 times, the game plan got fucking thrown in the trash can at halftime. Finished his QB 4 in half PPR. Walker was awesome too, ran for 63 yards. Why are you shaking your head?
Because PPR doesn't matter for a quarterback.
It's just the rankings I use. I'm letting them know what everybody, I even hear them say that. I'm not going to argue with you on here, but
there's nothing to argue about.
I'm letting people know that I'm using those rankings. That's the type of league I'm in. That's all. That's all it has to do, because that's our league. The podcast league is half PPR. Yes,
Ramy, can I get a ruling?
I guess I know it doesn't correlate to. I don't know. Whatever.
It doesn't matter, but just let him go.
Nope. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll talk. So
Cool.
Sam Howell had a decent game, 29 of 44, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's showing that he might be a long-term solution at quarterback for the Commanders if they can build a team around him, but they lost another close game. Howell with 44 attempts, Gino with 47. That's why when all the other late games wrapped up, this one almost pushed into the Sunday night game. This game went on forever. I mean, it almost went past 8 o'clock. I felt like it went really long. So it was an entertaining game though. Sam Howell he had a really nice game in those PPR leagues. So I think oh.
Dude, Sam Howell though. You sure?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm letting you guys talk. I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'll shut the fuck up.
Can I get that in writing?
It's never stopped you before.
Yeah.
That was his 6th game over 250 yards, his 5th with multiple touchdowns. The first time this season where he had 0 bad throws, according to Pro Football Reference. 6 of 7 games over 40 attempts. Dude's going to sling it. You know, we got asked a question a couple of weeks ago. Is Jahan Dotson trustable? And we debated that for, a little bit. Yeah, maybe. And we hemmed and hawed. And yeah, I guess if you have to, fuck that. That dude got me a goose egg. No, you cannot trust Jahan Dotson at all. You can't trust him to get you a single point. You could have got me anything, and instead you got me nothing. What the actual fuck? I don't understand. I really don't get it. Like, he was hyped coming into the year. He's going to be a sleeper. And he did halfway decent last year as a rookie. And just, you talk about the inconsistency. 2 targets. He'd been doing decent. He coming into the week over the 2 weeks prior, he was the wide receiver 4. And then he became the wide receiver nothing. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. But no, to whoever asked that question, I'm revising my answer from a couple of weeks ago. If it wasn't no, it sure as shit is now. You can't drop him, but park his ass on the bench and just let him rot there. Let him rot. You cannot trust him and put him in your lineup. If you're putting Jahan Dotson in your lineup, you don't even understand how thoroughly fucked you are to even have that be an option that you're considering. Do not start Jahan Dotson. Rant over.
That was made clear.
Yeah. The Commanders only ran the ball 14 times. Sam Howell's lighting it up this year, but I don't think that's the recipe for victories in Washington. They need to be able to establish a running game if they want to win consistently. I think Sam Howell's a serviceable quarterback, and I think he's probably the starter for the next couple of years based on what he's done this year. But unless they get a rushing attack or supplement the runners that they have with a decent offensive line or a game plan that focuses more on the run, they're going to continue to lose these types of games. They're going to lose the touchdown games to the Eagles every time they play the Eagles, and they'll be in the game. But winning close or losing close games is going to get Ron Rivera fired. He's probably done after this year. Unfortunately, he seems like a good coach. He's just never really had a situation outside of Carolina for those couple of years where he went to the Super Bowl. He's made a bad situation tolerable in Washington with everything that was going on there over the last couple of years and just the uncertainty at the quarterback position. But you got to be able to run the ball a little bit more. You're just killing your team. You're killing your defense.
Ron Rivera, his teams are always in the worst place to be, and that's between, a team that wins 6 to 8 games a season, where you're not bad enough to be able to justify tearing it down to your fan base, but you're also not really good enough to legitimately contend. You're just kind of stuck in that NFL purgatory.
Yeah. And with new ownership in there, I don't know that they'll be willing to continue down that path for another year after this one.
No, I think he's done. They'll elevate Bieniemy. He'll get his shot. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Even though the run game didn't get going, Brian Robinson still finishes RB1.
Yeah,
So.
helps when you catch 6 balls for 119 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, definitely does. Definitely
nice in a PPR league too.
Yeah, that was a career high 6 grabs too.
Yeah.
Got them all too. 6 targets, 6 catches.
The 2 running backs had the 2 most receptions on the team.
Yeah.
Antonio Gibson had 5 receptions for 42 yards on 6 targets. So
Antonio Gibson has been
solid.
We'll call him a legitimate flex play.
Yeah.
Since week 5, he's the RB 32. So, in a league, if you start 3 running backs, number one, I never heard of that shit, and that sounds terrible. That's more of a flex play. Are you serious? You're in a league that starts 3 running backs?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought I misunderstood you. I thought you meant a league where you have to start 3 running backs. All I have are running backs. So I start running backs all the time. That's where I am. 3-7. Right, Kyle?
Yeah. Yep.
3-7. He does have 4 games over 9 points, though.
Yeah.
Since week 5. I had to use him for a week, and he came through with a touchdown, and thank you for that. Jahan Dotson certainly can't give me that shit.
All right. Time for waiver wire for week 11. What do you guys got?
You already mentioned one of mine. Josh Dobbs.
Oh, definitely. He's definitely one.
He's one you're picking up, especially with buys still being out there if you need to pick him up. I have Trevor Lawrence in our league, the podcast league, and I may consider picking up Josh Dobbs because he's having a much better year than Trevor Lawrence has. We talked about that a little bit earlier today. Trevor Lawrence is having a terrible year, but Josh Dobbs is available in 38, almost 40% of leagues. So if he's out there, he's worth picking up because that offense is pretty explosive.
Shit, he's the QB7 on the season.
Yeah.
His ass shouldn't be available anywhere.
Yeah, but it is.
The guy, he can make plays with his arms and his legs, and they're going against the Broncos, who give up 4.7 per carry to quarterback. So he's probably licking his chops for this matchup, and he's getting more comfortable in that Minnesota. Well, I don't know about more comfortable, but definitely learning it more. So kudos to him.
Who do you like, Kyle?
I think we mentioned him last week, but I think you definitely have to pick him up now. Trey McBride. I think he's still available in tons of leagues. Top target in the passing game for Kyler Murray on Sunday, catching 8 of 9. He had a 28% target share. That's his first 100-yard game of his career. Zach Ertz is going to come back from this quad injury. He's eligible in week 12. I just have a hard time seeing, them just go with Ertz and tossing McBride to the side. They were both earning a lot of targets. When Ertz was healthy, he was earning a lot of targets, but he was only 4.3 yards per target. McBride's double in that at 8.2. So I hope they'd stick with him. But he looks like a sure top 10 tight end the rest of the season.
Absolutely. He's fast, too. He's really
I didn't
fast.
realize he was either. I didn't realize that till I watched some games or some highlights. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, he had that gorgeous catch along the sideline, too. He can play. So just before this, before we hopped on here, AJ who beat Kyle last week here in the podcast league. Shout out to you, buddy. Posed a question to me: waivers, Devin Singletary or Keaton Mitchell? And, I kind of talked it through, and I think Devin Singletary is going to get a larger workload than Keaton Mitchell will. So I think he will have the safer floor. But I think Keaton Mitchell, he's that dude that can take it to the house from anywhere on the field. So he's got the higher upside. Out of those two, which one would you guys rather have?
I'd probably go with rest of season or this week.
Rest of season.
You said waiver wire, so I thought we were talking he said waivers, AJ did, so I thought we were just talking about for a week. Yeah. I probably go with Singletary. I know Pierce has been out, so that's why Singletary's been getting the load, but Jesus, he's gotta be. I mean, if he keeps this up, he's
podcast title.
Yeah, RB. He's got to be an RB2 discussion going forward. He averages 3 yards per carry after contact, which is pretty good. He was already cutting into Pierce's playing time, before the injury. So I got to go Singletary with just so many backs in Baltimore. Yeah, I got to go with Singletary on this one. I'll be a floor guy on this one.
I would agree just at how CJ Stroud has been unbelievable this season. You got to think defenses are going to start dropping more guys to account for that and try to limit the passing attack of the Texans. So you think Singletary would have more opportunities against defensive lines that are probably not run blitzing very much, that they're trying to cover for that pass. So I would go with Singletary too. Matt, you're right on. Keaton Mitchell's that home run guy that you're going to start one week and get lucky because he goes 6 carries for 93 yards and a touchdown. But I think overall, if you're looking for a guy that's going to get you more consistent points, I think Singletary is the guy.
Well, I will go ahead and make it not unanimous. I actually said Keaton Mitchell. When I think about a waiver wire pickup, and especially if it's somebody who I'm not necessarily going to rely on every week, give me the upside. I mean, Keaton Mitchell legitimately has 8 for 80 and 2 touchdown upside anytime he's out there on the field.
Yeah. I see your point, but
it depends on what the rest of your team looks like too, right? Like if you're going to get consistent production out of some other guys on your team, then yeah, maybe Keaton Mitchell's more of the play because he can give you that explosivity. But if you need somebody that's going to give you some consistent production, then maybe you kind of go towards Singletary.
Yeah, and it was posed to me the excuse me, the way I understand it is, this person would be in consideration as a flex play.
Okay.
Because he already had, what do you have? JT and Pacheco or something like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I could see it.
Or no, Mostert and Pacheco. That's what it was.
My other one is going to be Noah Brown again for this week. We do not know if Nico Collins is going to be back or not yet. I gotta say, if I think he's still worthy of a wide receiver 3 play this week. It's just hard to imagine them going away from Noah Brown or sitting Noah Brown once everyone's healthy, since they're all just doing so well.
So do you think he's got a rest of season shelf life? Or do you think he's really only going to be relevant while Nico Collins is out? And don't get me wrong, there's value in both scenarios.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's hard to imagine them sitting Brown when he's healthy, and it's also hard to imagine them sitting Collins or Dell because of their great quality of play. So it's just it's a good fucking problem to have,
Absolutely.
Especially if they end up winning this division and going to the playoffs, and man, fun team to watch. But he had the 5th best ADOT last week at 16.8. That's pretty fucking good. And his
Nice.
PFF receiving grade was 3rd in the league last week. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Who else you guys got? Anybody?
I'll throw one out there that's available in about 40% of leagues, depending on who you ask. Romeo Dubs or Romeo Dobbs. They're going up against the Chargers this week, which we've seen is not a team that can really stop a nosebleed. So he's been the most consistent weapon for Green Bay, really. He's averaging 11.5 points a game in fantasy. So I think if you need to pick up a receiver, he's got potential for the rest of the season, but especially this week going against that Chargers defense, I think Romeo Dobbs is a legitimate pickup.
5 touchdowns. He's had double-digit points, I think 5 games this season.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad production from somebody who, you're either picking up off of waivers or you drafted at the end of your draft.
Yep.
Let's get to the standings.
Yeah.
Take my damn medicine.
Hold on here. We gotta eliminate some things that go here first. Let's see. Standings. Ugh. This is where Brandon said he was going to jump in. I guess he forgot about us, but
His ass is slinging pies.
So yeah, Ramey, Car Ramrod, 3-7, and Matt Ray's Piss Jugs, 3-7. I lost this week and was in 2nd. I plummeted down to 5th, so I dropped 3 spots. I've lost 2 in a row.
Yep.
But Ray's at lost 5 in a row, and Ramey's at lost 3 in a row.
Yep.
Not having a good one.
Matt and I are tied with the team that makes more trades than anybody, and the other team that doesn't do anything. So
yeah, I got. Yeah, you guys are. Yeah, I didn't even notice somewhere where Dwayne Bowe had the same record and he doesn't do anything.
He's won 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, you guys should contact him and see what he's doing. I got a trade from Fanatics that I woke up to this morning.
I had 2.
I don't remember what it was, but it was for Tyreek Hill again. And I just shook my head and hit reject. And
he must be a big Dolphins fan because he wants
He must
so
be
bad.
a big
He's trolling
something
your ass.
or yeah, exactly. So that's fine. Do what you got to do, brother. You're in fucking last.
Achance back this week though. I'm going to go on a run.
Hey, could happen. Could happen.
I just want to point out I'm only 3 games out of the playoffs. Assuming I win out from here and finish the season at 8-7 or 7-7.
Crazier things have happened.
Right. I think that's a puncher's chance. I'm in the phase of the season where this shit is 1 week at a time.
Just like Bill.
Right.
Yeah. What one's next? Aces, deuces, locks. Ugh.
I continue to gain ground.
Matt is good to go and fully above 500. Well, you were last week. You were 23 and 22, but yep, right behind me. Couple games. Ramey, excellent job picking T. Higgins.
Try again this week.
Yep, 18 and 32. That's
well, he ain't gonna be around. You got to put in your shit beforehand. Homework's due before you leave.
Well, I'll do it after this. Let's see.
Yeah, you just have to come up with names. You don't have to actually write anything.
I think
it.
I think Kirk Cousins is probably going to have a really good week this week. So
there we go.
Yeah,
nice,
probably. And what Matt's been sitting here waiting for, our weekly DFS Sunday slate matchup. Matt got a win, put up some points, 174.
Congratulations.
Yep, all our points are pretty close to. I mean, things are close, man. You just got lucky, Ramey. Jesus, you got lucky in a lot of these.
You can win.
Going 5 in a row helps, huh?
Yeah, it does. It really does help.
I'm making a run. Calling it now.
Matt's calling it now.
I will not be buying Alan for
making a run.
I am not paying.
All right, we got. You guys got 5 minutes?
Yeah,
do this little player count thing. We'll fuck around here
busy
at the end for a minute. Are you okay?
Yeah.
So I sent you guys that player comp this morning, and the T-Law and Baker one, and it got me thinking. So I decided to go the stat sites and start looking for some that were, relatively close. And I came up with a matchup for a pair of quarterbacks, pair of running backs, and same with receivers. Let's see what you guys can come up with here. The quarterback comp. Can you see that pretty well?
So they're comps, but we're picking who we think they are.
Yeah,
not
we're just
who
kind
we'd
of
rather have.
It's just a little mini game conversation. That's all.
Okay.
Fantasy points and half PPR.
No, I don't want to. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
Can you give me what the fantasy points would be in a full
It'll
PPR?
be it's the same. It'll be relevant in the next
Rushing
slides,
yards.
asshole. No looking at your
You know
screens.
what?
I don't want to see no heads moving back and forth. Looking at.
I'm
your
going to say
screen.
player A is Jalen Hurts.
No.
Is player B Jalen Hurts?
Neither are Jalen Hurts.
Okay, give me a second here. 5 picks, total touchdowns, rushing yards, 368.
I purposely did total touchdowns and not separating them by rush or reception because of this.
Shoot. I am going to
Player A is Lamar Jackson.
Player A is Lamar Jackson. Player B.
Oh.
I mean, you can easily go cheat if you want and look at the thing, but
is player B? No, it's not. Hold on. Is player?
Let's see here, Lamar Jackson. Dak.
Nope.
See, it's the rushing yards.
Dak's not close to
Yeah.
368.
I'm just
I don't
trying.
know.
All right,
who
ready?
B is.
Well, no, I
Ready?
want to guess.
What the hell are you waiting for?
Patrick Mahomes.
No, sir. All right.
Ooh.
No shit.
Yeah. His rushing grade was higher than Lamar's, which makes sense because Lamar's not rushing as much. Less to grade on, but yeah, only 11 points ish apart. Crazy.
Yeah.
Tain't
All
bad.
right. Running back.
Four total touchdowns.
Shit.
I'm going to say player B is Joe Mixon.
Nope.
Is player A? No.
Kyron Williams.
Nope.
Is player B Zach Moss?
Nope.
I don't know.
Point and a half difference in fantasy. All right.
Bijan and DeAndre Swift.
Very similar. Very similar.
DeAndre Swift has quietly put himself together a nice season.
Yeah.
You heard about him at the beginning of the year, like the first 2-3 weeks, and you don't hear shit no more.
Yeah. Yep. It's doing all right. So, all right. Wide receivers. Last one.
Total touchdowns. See, there you go with that shit. Player B, Jordan Addison.
Player B, it's Jordan Addison. Anybody know who player A is?
Is player A Travis Kelce?
No,
you said wide receiver. Just wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
Okay.
Says wide receiver right there in the right.
I count him as a wide receiver.
Yeah, I wanted to do a tight end one as well, but it was a little more difficult.
Okay. Is it Nico?
Nope.
I'm not sure who player A is.
It is Mike Evans.
Nice. His ass wouldn't have got cocky. He'd have 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, similar targets, similar receptions. Obviously, Mike Evans got him in the receiving grade, but not too horrible. Just something. I might try and do that for every Tuesday. Screw around with that. See if we can do some stuff. I thought it was kind of neat. But
Okay.
cool.
That was
I don't
fun.
got anything more. I don't got anything more to talk about. Ramey's got the long weekend off, so
Yeah. See you
the
guys a week from
three
tonight.
these 3 viewers here and anybody that watches the replay won't see him again until next Tuesday.
Right.
He's going to the wonderful world and travel destination of Iowa.
Kinnick Stadium.
Yep.
That's Ames, Iowa, right?
Iowa City.
Iowa City.
Iowa City.
Ames is Iowa
Iowa
State.
State. Yep.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Why don't you two take us home and see if you can do it in, under 3 minutes?
I know I can't.
Okay. Well, I will see you guys next Tuesday. For everybody else, please tune in on Thursday at 7:00 for our Week 11 preview, as well as 11:30 a.m. on Sunday for Tinker Time. Don't forget to visit our website, www.stononsportspodcast.com. Visit all the socials. If you have any comments or have any questions you'd like to post while we're not live, we'll be happy to get to those. And I'll look forward to trying to listen in to you guys on Thursday and on Sunday while I'm in the car. So maybe I'll come in with some questions since I clearly need the help.
There you go.
Yeah. Hope
you're not driving, are you?
Yeah, we're driving.
No, I'm saying, but coming in out of the podcast while you're driving.
Yeah, we'll see. Keep it interesting.
He's a multitasker. No. Cool. All right.
No. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.